Hello and good evening, England football fans out there. My name is Jack Wright, known as JackpotButtonLewis on YouTube, and Real6 King Henry 8 on Instagram. And welcome to another very warm and sticky, of course, studio, and to another edition of my, of course, World Cup football vlog series, and more specifically the spin-off series of it, of World Cup 26, the America's Dream Overtime. As you can see, unbelievably, I have had to go all out just to try and keep myself cool, and I have currently got a fairly damp, of course, towel around me, just so I can just get a little bit more cooler in here. I was tempted to do it over, if you did see, footage of the England versus Ghana game in my bedroom, where, of course, I was about to react to the game that what happened just as a few days ago. Well, as you didn't know if you have already come from that episode already, I know it's been once again a few days since that unfortunate and quite disappointing and frustrating goalless draw for both sides. There they fought against a very stubborn and very defensive Ghanaian side there, England, and over just under the next hour or so we're going to look into of course some reactions to the game. We've got a load of tweets from X to look at. We'll also have a full roundup of the classified match day results of the second of the group stage matches, and unbelievably, as of tonight also, they've already started the third match day, the final match days of this of course group stage of this summer's, I meant to say, FIFA World Cup tournament. And if you honestly feel like that the heat has just been playing with my head, of course, that's why I feel like I'm tripping over my words, because over the last few days it has just been absolutely insane. I mean, it's just to put into words how the weather has been for the last few days of this week has just been, I think, literally indescribable. And if you are wondering, if you are hearing some noise in the background, of all the times for it to happen now, as we've of course have started just after 11 o'clock in the evening, I think there's some construction work going on down further up one of the streets of where I live here in Ferryway, Littleport. But we are going to, of course, I hope that most of you ignore it. Of course, we have the windows open just to get some cool air in, and I know that I could have had a fan in here, but I want to make sure I can keep it in my bedroom for as long as possible. But as I said already, unfortunately, an unfortunate, of course, goalless draw there for England over the African side, Ghana. But if they, of course, are anything to go by, hopefully England are still remaining positive as of, despite this unfortunate result at once again at the Boston Stadium, of course, from just a few days ago. And with that also being said, let's quickly hear from some of the people who had a load of things to be said about them. And we're going to now hear from some of the specific players, more like of Declan Rice, also that being the goalkeeper, also of that Jordan Pickford, also captain and skipper Harry Kane, and also the manager Thomas Tuchel, who spoke to Kenny Summers from BBC Sport from just a few days before, after the second FIFA World Cup group stage match, after once again England taking on the African Black Stars of Ghana.
Well, Declan, is frustration the overriding emotion at full time?
Yeah, I think so. It's always difficult when you play against 11 behind the ball as deep as they was. You've got to find solutions, and last 10 minutes we probably found more than we did all game, and we was unlucky not to score. But look, we stay positive, we keep going, and we still have a great chance to top the group against Panama, so positivity all round.
Why do you think you couldn't find those solutions today when you did so well against Croatia?
Sorry, say that again?
Why do you think you couldn't find those solutions today?
You have to give credit to Ghana sometimes. 5-4-1 off the ball, very, very compact, tight spaces to play through. But of course, and on the other hand, maybe we can do a little bit more with the ball and create a bit more. But But it's tough, you know, they're good players, like we said that. It was never going to be an easy game, and now we have one more in the group to finish top, so we need to be positive.
It's the fourth tournament in a row where England have drawn their second group match. You've got to finals in 2 of those tournaments. Does that perhaps show that there's no need to panic? It's all on track.
Yeah, you know, loads of top nations drew their first game. You know, no need to be negative or downbeat. We need to stay positive, keep going, recover before the next match, and that's what we'll do.
Thanks, Jack. Jordan, another point on the board for England, but what's the overriding emotion after that?
Yeah, I think we knew it was always going to be tough against Ghana, and they went into we knew they played counter-attacking football. We kind of knew, but they probably went more 4-5-1 instead of 4-3-3, and yeah, they were really hard to break down. I think we had our chances, and we had to be wary of the counter-attack. It's football, you know, it's always that one. When you get that first goal against them, you know, getting an early goal against them, it opens up the game a lot more. But they played a good game, and yeah, we've got to be happy. We're still top of the group and focus on Panama now, and finish strong in the group and top it.
England did have so much possession, created a few chances towards the end, but you as well had to stay switched on because we saw the threats that they posed too.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I've just mentioned there. We knew they play counter-attacking. We've got like Semenyo, we've got some top players, some fast players, and you've got to be ready and be called upon, and that's what I felt like I did, even though we're not making many saves, just being in the right position at the right moment, and some of the lads is defending as well towards the end of the game, you know, blocks, recovery runs, it was top draw. It was hard work put in that people sometimes don't see, and yeah, we would love to win the game, but we've not lost. You know, we know it's tournament football, group stage football, and it's in our hands to top the group.
Is it perhaps a bit of a reality check after the highs of last week?
No, I think it's you play different teams every game, and we just didn't get that goal. It's simple as that, because we limited them to so many little chances, and we played well. We kept coming, we kept going all the way at the end, and just never managed to get that goal. But that's football.
Thanks for your time.
Cheers, Kelly.
Well, Harry, I imagine you're left scratching your head as to how you haven't won that match.
Yeah, it was one of those games. Difficult team to break down. Obviously, I think we had loads of possession of the ball. Probably the last 15 minutes of both halves was at our best. They started to tire towards the end. We had some chances there. Obviously, I had a big chance there. We hit the bar with Nico as well. So, yeah, it could have easily been a game where we come away with a win. In the end, we didn't concede too many chances. A couple of counter-attacks in the whole game, but they got some dangerous players, and overall we controlled that pretty well. So, look, we wanted to win, but we take the point, and we're still in a great position in the group.
I was going to say, when we see Harry Kane miss a chance like that, does that really tell us that it isn't England's day?
Yeah, you go through the games like that. I was kind of just there waiting for an opportunity like that to fall my way. It was kind of a game as a striker that you're kind of just waiting for the ball to bounce, and it did. I just couldn't quite get over the ball. But yeah, I'm backing myself to score that more often than not. So it is what it is. You know, I've been a striker long enough to know they don't always go in, so I have to accept it.
Shows you human, I guess. I think it was just 3 touches in the opposition box for you today. Did you feel like you were struggling to get in the game, or you were just really well marked?
Yeah, it was kind of man marked there with Partey for a lot of the game, so kind of didn't have the space to drop deep and then arrive later in the box. But they also defended the box well. You know, we had plenty of crosses, but just couldn't quite get the first contacts. The balls through the middle were kind of tough to play because it was so compact in there. So it was a game I felt got better as we went along, and we started getting the wingers 1v1, and it was dangerous. But yeah, you go through games like that. You know, you're playing in the World Cup, you're playing against a decent side who are compact and make it difficult, and that's what we come against today.
4 points from the opening 2 games. England still happy?
Yeah, look, we're in a great position. We play Panama next, so yeah, I spoke before about major tournaments. You kind of chunk it up into 2 separate tournaments. First is the group stage, making sure you get through, and hopefully we can finish with a win and finish top. And then comes the second tournament, which is obviously the knockout stage. So we've almost done part 1. We recovered now as a quick turnaround, but I think we'll look forward to getting back out there in a few days.
Thanks for your time, Harry.
Cheers, thank you.
Well, Thomas, after all of the euphoria after the opening game, is the overriding emotion now one of frustration?
No, not frustrated. I saw it coming. I knew that this can be a difficult game. I've hardly seen a team defend so physical and so committed like they did, Ghana did. So full credit to them. It was difficult to break them down. You need to be patient. You need to be precise, and in the right moments, of course, you need to commit and be brave, but you can never for 1 second open spaces for counterattacks. We conceded, I think, only 2, and they were very dangerous. So we were very aware of that. And I think in the end of the halves, we grew into it and we found the rhythm. And of course, fatigue set in. So we were pushing and pushing. I like the attitude. You need a bit of luck. We had enough, I think, enough shots. We had enough crosses. We had enough set pieces to score the first goal. Had a big chance with Harry, so it is what it is.
Yeah, once you made those changes at the end, did it feel like England had a little bit more balance, particularly on the left-hand side?
Not sure about balance, but just like new energy. I mean, they defended so intense and with so much compassion and commitment. They were so physical that at a point we knew it will open up the spaces a bit more, and then we had fresh legs. They're a bit more tired, and you could see them. Yeah, you're a bit dangerous, born dangerous in the wide areas, and couldn't get it over the line.
Harry Kane had just 3 touches in the opposition box today, and of course, on any other day, I'm sure he takes that chance. Was getting him into the game a real difficulty as well?
Of course, it's very difficult because if he dropped short, they took care about him with the central 6. They, like I said, they were basically defending with 10 players against 8 because they left our centre backs more or less alone and do the build-up. So it was 10 against 8. The spaces around Harry were very, very tight. So yeah, can do stuff better, but there's no concern now. He had one chance that he normally never misses, and he missed it today. So it is what it is. This will not be the first match like this. Like I said, have some respect also for our group and for the difficulty of our group. Even the third match against Panama, even if it's maybe the most unknown name, they were very good against Ghana. It will be tough.
4 points going into that final game. How are you feeling? What's the message and what can you work on?
Oh, well, now it's important to digest the match and analyze the match, and we only have 3 days now in between. We need to take care of that. Tomorrow recovery day, and then 2 days to prepare, and then we're back in the plane and back to travel. And of course we will play any match to win it, and we need to be well prepared, but at the moment I am not prepared for that question.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Well, some quite somewhat positive comments there from once again Declan Rice, Jordan Pickford, the captain Harry Kane, and also the manager Thomas Tuchel. So they are still remaining quite focused despite the unfortunate draw against Ghana. I know that loads of people unbelievably have been going absolutely ballistic over the last few days on social media about, of course, these particular performance with England, and we can get straight to some comments right now, and we'll try and get through as many X comments here, and we start with DB, known as DB Deng, also on X. And he says that he responded to Henry Winter, who once again was the football journalist from the Football Boardroom and Sunday edition of TalkSport. And he said, a tough game. Ghana were superb defensively. Not many teams would have broken them down, but they offered nothing going forward. England will still likely finish top of the group, which is all we asked for. Move on. So that's, of course, a very direct response there. As we also had Rob, also of CFC, who is a Charlton Athletic supporter, a long-suffering Charlton Athletic fan. And he says here that Ghana has every man behind the ball, defending superbly and out frustrating us. Their game plan is working for them. We can't unpick it. That's the problem. We should have the quality to patience. There we go. I think that's something that they did want to stay patient over, but unfortunately they it's not to say that they were scared going forward. Also, we know that there were some very strong words said by my mum and dad, Samantha and John, after the game, and they were very critical, I think, about how England played, and I couldn't take the criticism at the time. So it's not to say that they were in the wrong, but I was, of course, hiding the fact that I was a little frustrated also over the draw, but it's a good job that England didn't concede a penalty, because unbelievably, if you might remember, there was a controversial challenge in the last 15 minutes of the game, which we mentioned if you did, of course, follow the last episode of when we covered the Ghana match, and I think it was all to do with I think the player of Noni Madueke, who had a challenge in the penalty box on the Ghanaian half in the second half. And he had a brave, he did a brave tackle in the penalty box to clear the ball away, and of course most of the Ghanaian players were exaggerating. But funny enough, the referee that we had, unbelievably, from Honduras, I can't remember the referee's name, but it was a little bit unfortunate that he had to give a yellow card to Declan Rice, so he's currently on a yellow card going into the next game as of later on this week, coming this weekend on Saturday, on once again the 27th of June, more specifically. Also with, of course, kickoff from unbelievably from 10 p.m. and that is going to be going to be played at the MetLife Stadium, home of, once again, the New York Giants and New York Jets American football teams, where also the final will also be taking place on the 13th of July as well. So hopefully England still are, of course, still within their chance of trying to hopefully go all the way. We also have had a few more critical comments here. We've also had previously from EBL and ex-head analysis of the English Football League. He said, not good from England despite doing enough to win. Tuchel gave the team sub-optimal conditions for the first 70 minutes. A left-sided triangle of Spence, Rice and Gordon is sub-optimal in every regard. No need to panic though, the urgency would have been higher in a knockout game. Well, of course, I think that's a little bit of a reminder for England. They've had, surprisingly, a bit of an unfortunate and sudden reality check that even though they had a comfortable 4-2 win just a week ago over, once again, Croatia. But we've also had another comment here, also from Leon Legg, who is a husband and father and a professional football player who has played for the likes of clubs such as Brentford, Gillingham, Cambridge United and Port Vale. And he said, same old England, always struggle against a team that defends deep. I never had us winning the WC, that being World Cup, but any top team playing us, their tactics would literally be defend and hit on the counter, and mark my words, that's how we go out of this competition, whether it's quarterfinals or semi, that's how it happens. Well, I know that might seem a kind of almost a pragmatic comment to say there, but also it's something to be aware of. Also, we've had another comment here. Unfortunately, we couldn't show this on screen because it's too long. And we've also got another professional football player who is from, I don't know where that exactly is. I think it says Spain, but his name was Roger Ruxi Bonnet, and he says, Argentina attack low blocks with Messi and Thiago Almada operating between the lines. Germany attack at low blocks with Musiala, that being Jamal Musiala, and Christian Wirtz between the lines. France attack low blocks with Dembele and Olise between the lines. Spain attack low blocks with Pedri and Dani Olmo between the lines. England, on the other hand, are attacking a low block with Rice and Bellingham operating between the lines. And he says that, continuing on, this isn't a criticism of England or of those players. It's simply a reflection of their profiles. Rice and Bellingham are excellent players, but neither is naturally suited to consistently receiving in tight spaces, turning under pressure, combining quickly, or playing incisive through passes in the final third of the game. Whether they, when they do, it's more the exception than the rule. And in games where England are expected to dominate possession and face a deep defensive block, like players such as Eze or Morgan Rogers can offer something different. With the profiles England are using today from a few days ago, it makes more sense to optimise the attack and around different strengths, creating crossing opportunities, dominating second balls through, counter-pressing and maximising set-piece situations. So very interesting studying, of course, how the way they play, and it wasn't just down to how they played from a few days ago. I think it's as of they are playing currently, and of course specifically at this tournament as well. So very interesting words said there as I just quickly mop my head there, of course. But it's not down to sweat, of course. I've been touching myself a little bit with this wet towel just to make sure that I stay, of course, cool and hydrated. And I know that my hair is a little bit of a mess, but like I said before, I've had no choice but to do this just to try and get cool as possible. But we also have and as I just mentioned about England having a reality check, as we have this next comment here from Football Tweet. And they say a big reality check in capital letters for this England side, who at times looked all too familiar to teams we've seen in previous tournaments. The performance was slow, laboured and lacking creativity in the final third, with too few ideas to break down a stubborn opponent. That said, it's far from a disaster, and if there's a positive to take, it's that games like this expose problems that need solving. Learning how to break down a low block now could prove invaluable later in the tournament when the stakes are much higher. We move. So another very of course hopeful words going ahead, and especially very important words noted for of course for the England team. But yeah, we don't want to have too negative, of course, comments here. I know I've put a handful out here, so I'm just being a little picky with the ones here, because we don't want to criticise it. It weren't the worst performance for England in the world, but it weren't the best either. That's what I put up on Instagram from just a few days ago. And we also have the reporter from the Athletic FC of Adam Crafton says there'll be a lot of criticism for England after that. Some fair, but Ghana was so brilliantly organised and concentrated. Always worth remembering there's two teams on a field. Well, of course, I mean, it wouldn't be the sport of football without two teams on the field anyway, which seems a bit of a pointless addition at the end of that comment. But anyway, moving on with that, let's as we go now to Luke of Lou Orns, also here on X, and he said, I think this proves Tuchel's point even more. England won't play a team like this beyond the group. The game will look more like what happened versus Croatia in the knockouts. But also England aren't playing their best team either. This is a type of game that won't happen again. And this was a reply comment from Mr. Dorman Davis, known as Aquilium Scripto here on X. And he initially said, this is why you bring game breakers. This is why you bring game breakers to a game that are important. I mean, I think it has been worded incorrectly here. Man, are you trying to system their way through the tournament? Being a World Cup of the big guys showing up and individual quality, they need to be serious. So, but we also had another person here responding to that. Israel, which is actually spelled with an I instead of an E to the country of Israel. Israel Thomas, a financial advisor from Chicago in Illinois, said, England doesn't have those players centrally at a high enough level to give away what they do have in strength. Palmer and Foden aren't strong enough in that role to give away another winger or striker. If this happens in the knockouts, I imagine he puts another striker on. So I think that's also what he will do. But there is set to be a few changes ahead of their next game from later on this week against Panama. And also we've had some unexpected injury shocks also as well, which we'll have more information on that very, very shortly. We've also had Jamie Carragher here, who has had a little column here for Telegraph Football, and he said that that it was back down to earth for England. It's a disappointing performance, but the bigger picture is that the two most difficult games are out of the way. It's actually a decent point because Ghana were unlucky to have not been awarded a penalty. With Panama to come, England are 99% certain to win the group. There was probably too much euphoria after the first game. We need to be careful not to go too overboard with criticism for this result, even though there are issues to resolve moving forward, which, as I've already mentioned, that is one of the other things that has been talked about here as well. But there is also, we have got another comment here from England Extra here, which was just posted as of yesterday, and they said that we should still win the group, so there doesn't need to be too much of an overreaction. But the issue is now, the issue now, is that we won't be able to rest many players against Panama. The MetLife pitch sucks too, not ideal preparation for the knockouts. Well, that is also a little bit of a shock there for England as well. And we're also as well there with some unfortunate injuries that were picked up from the game just as of from just a few days ago. We've also had, before we get to more information on that as well, we've also had a few comments here, which unbelievably, even though he actually was given the Player of the Match award, Jude Bellingham, he did say, in my view, it should have gone to a Ghanaian player, and he did actually say this in an interview from after the match. And it was quite amusing to actually hear that. I think if I did actually put here on my notes here about he said it would have gone to like the captain of Iyame or also Igari. I couldn't remember the name of the Ghanaian captain. And also on the topic of that as well, I know you didn't see it because we couldn't show actual footage. There was also a little unfortunate thing that happened recently with also with a little comment that was said to the Ghanaian captain during the game, and weirdly enough, because of the angle of it, it felt like he was covering his mouth, because, you know, one of the important rules recently at the World Cup as of this year is that if anyone is covering their mouth in a confrontational situation with an opponent of the opposing team, they could be getting a straight red card. And according to, unbelievably, FIFA have said, and also the main, of course, head referee, who's the principal of referees at this summer's FIFA World Cup, the legendary Italian Pierluigi Collina, said that he explained, if the conversation is a friendly conversation, they can continue to do it without any problem. When the conversation is confrontational, covering the mouth, which I've just mentioned there, as I've already explained, means that you are doing something very wrong, potentially, and the sanction is the red card. So and this was to Jordan Ayew, there we go, that was his name, who unbelievably, as we mentioned in commentary yesterday, he's fresh from playing with the Man City side, of course the side of Man City in the Premier League from earlier on this year. And we have also had here with Read the Game here responding to Fabrizio Romano's comment here with Jude Bellingham explaining here from, once again, he was originally from Milan in Italy, but with a response here from Read the Game again here also on X, he said, I love Jude Bellingham, but he was missing tonight, from this from a few days ago. Credit to Ghana, they were extremely compact and defended brilliantly as a unit to compact central spaces and make life difficult for England. But the fire and influence we saw from Jude against Croatia just wasn't there today. I have no doubts he'll bounce back, but he wasn't England's best player tonight. So, well, as I said before, I think that only can be agreed by a fair few other England fans, which I'm sure might have the same opinion. So, but anyway, let's, of course, move on from that, because, like I said, before it gets a bit too much, let's concentrate on the positives here as well. And as I just get a quick swig of water here. We have, unfortunately, we've only managed to get one newspaper as of that covered the reaction for the game from just a few days ago, and we've got another copy of the Sun newspaper that came out once again on Wednesday, the 24th of June, and it says on the front here, on the front headline, "Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright." So it's a nice little pun on that famous song there from UB40, and there's a little hand clasp there from Jude Bellingham, an encouraging one there, which I think looks a little bit unusual there, of course, on the screen right now, but yes, it follows also because unbelievably it was the first game of the tournament for England to be played in a lot more cooler, of course, climate, and not to mention also as well, it was played unbelievably with rain falling actually, which did just happen from a few days ago at the Gillette Stadium in Boston, Massachusetts. So and also once again to remind you here from Nick Parker, one of the sport editors for The Sun, said, "England stumbled to a goalless draw against Ghana last night, but Three Lions fans were still backing their heroes to make it to the knockout stage. Skipper Harry Kane blazed for a brilliant chance over the bar minutes from the end. Supporters in the Boston Stadium, including Jeremy Clarkson and Sir David Beckham, were left with their heads in their hands and hoping for a convincing win against Minnows, Panama on Saturday." So that's good to hear as well. And we've also got a few comments here. Yet despite draw, England still on course to go through, and we'll also get a few other reactions here as we also got a front, of course, another double page spread here. "Tough draw, but we can still top group." And there we go. I'll just keep it up there so it doesn't bend on itself. And "Can you believe it?" And it also shows the unfortunate chance on goal, which was an amazing chance for Harry Kane, and it was such a shame that even though he had the chance, the angle of his volley shot was just too high and went over the bar, and unfortunately he missed his chance to score the only goal of the game. And yeah, we've had some frustrated reactions there for Thomas Tuchel, but we've also had some great England fans here as well, along with 3 England fans also in lion manes as well, which I thought was brilliant to see there as well. And we've also recently had, following an impressive recent recovery from, as we had mentioned in an earlier episode of World Cup 26, the America's Dream, with Jeremy Clarkson. He is recently recovered from an unexpected scare bout of course, prostate cancer, and he met Sir David Beckham here as well, and he also got to meet Kit Harington, also legendary actor from Game of Thrones fame, and also we have a few of the family relatives also of Jeremy Clarkson there as well as we've got a few female fans and also a few England fans in ponchos waiting to celebrate. Or of course waiting ahead of the kickoff of the game. And we've also had of course a sing-along in the Greatest Bar, which is a bar in Boston, and in the middle of that, as you can see, also there is Andy Milne, as we mentioned, the World Cup guy, also on Instagram, who has been mentioning it here. But also, as we've also had a recent opinion here from Jeremy Clarkson, as it does say here, "Clarkson gifts fans Sun tickets to game. I'm clueless about footy, but we need to be more brutal." So there we go. I mean, that's of course he's currently now a columnist for the Sun newspaper, and yeah, he says that for being a Chelsea fan, he gave his verdict over the lackluster Group L clash, but admitted footy is not really his area of expertise. And he said, "I don't know, I'm not a football manager, I don't know what I'm talking about, I just think we need to be a bit more brutal." title. And after the match ended, he added, "That was a long way to come from 0-0, but nobody wins every single match." But however, Clarkson still lapped up the atmosphere of his first World Cup game in Boston last night and took two tickerless fans for the ride. So, and yes, he got the opportunity to do that following a recent when he was in an indoor box when he met Sir David Beckham and decided to give his front row tickets away, also on X as well. And the lucky pair who were with him, as we just saw the picture there, just which is the second one just over there. I think if you can just see that there, of course reflected on our lighting here, and those particular fans were engineer Derry Thomas, 32 years old, and his 32-year-old designer pal of Gary Collier. And yeah, he also mentioned about his experience at his first World Cup game. "I didn't fancy getting soaked at my first England World Cup game, so I decided to treat someone without tickets. I offered them first come, first served to any England fans in Boston, and they were almost immediately to two lads who couldn't believe their luck. It was great to treat them, and I hope they're enjoying Boston as much as I am. The atmosphere has been terrific. I got chatting to them, and I found out they are from Selby in Yorkshire, about 8 miles from me, so that's a bonus." So yes, it goes in a little bit more detail about that, of course, particular about the two fans he gifted tickets to. And as I already I'm already dripping again. I'm not sure if that was just because of sweat or also with because of the water I had earlier on that I've just put on here. But anyway, as we look into the back page of the Sun newspaper, and it says, very good bit of wordplay here, "Boston Zzz Party. Free Lions draw blank as Jude has half-time row." And this was, of course, a little thing. I think that was initially said here by, that was mentioned to the captain, as we mentioned earlier on from Sky Sports. And from Tom Barkley in Boston, he said, "Jude Bellingham was involved in a half-time spat with Ghana on a frustrating night for England. Thomas Tuchel's side failed to grab the win in Boston that would guarantee their spot in the knockout stages of the World Cup. And their exasperation was summed at half-time when Real Madrid superstar Bellingham had to be dragged away from Ghana boss Carlos Guedes, the manager, from his fellow teammate Morgan Rogers. England were well off their best as they struggled to break down the gritty Africans. Captain Harry Kane spurned the best opportunity when he blazed over late in the second half after a header from Nico O'Reilly hit the bar. And Kane said, 'I had a great chance at the end and Nico hit the bar, so we could have easily won.'" And as we go to page number 51 here, which continues on with the comment that was being said. But it was one of those games. We take the point. We're in a great position to play Panama next. Hopefully we can finish top with a win. And yeah, it goes on. Of course, here it mentions also not to concede a penalty when it was Ezri Konsa who lunged at Prince Adu as the midfielder raced on through goal. And as of course we heard there from Thomas Tuchel earlier on, he's not frustrated. He saw the result coming. So I know he may not have been a prophet, but he definitely was expecting a bit of a challenge. And the headline here on this page here, and of course that unfortunate great volley shot here from Harry Kane here, and the headline saying, "Yawn in the USA, listless Lions suffer Boston blank as second game curse strikes again." So there you go. Yeah, that was from Martin Lipton there in Boston. So unfortunately, I know it's sometimes a bit frustrating to hear that such cynical comments here, but that's the English press for you. And of course, like I said before, we know that it was going to be expected, and I know that with, of course, what was being said just there, even though that I've just mentioned in the newspaper there, of course, from the Sun. We've had loads of other comments here as well, and also we can get straight now also here on World Cup 26, the America's Dream. We also have an update also to remind you that as well as the injury, of course, update here, unfortunately, to two players who might be need to be assessed before the last game against Panama later on this week. We can also can clarify that as of from a few days ago, that Harry Kane was now to become the third all-time England men's with appearances as in the England senior men's football team, and overtake the fourth place position player, that being of Sir David Beckham, who was there at the Boston Stadium from just a few days ago. He already surpassed in the first game, or equalled, unbelievably, the previous record by Steven Gerrard. Also, right at the beginning, I think it was when he played in the final friendly match, the 3-0 win over Costa Rica at the Inter & Co Stadium in, of course, that being Orlando. But we've had loads more comments here about the game here, and well, we've also got another interesting comment here from Mike of Miko Yan, also from Betwixt Mersey and D, and he said here on X, what a difference a week makes in the World Cup, from dynamic, fast-flowing to ponderous, slow and overly safe against a side more than happy to park the bus. An early reality check, although still time to iron out iron those issues out. And also we've had some another comment here. Only 19 years old. We have J, known as JWWSC07 here. And to look at the positives, England having the clean sheet. 4 points means we should go through to the next round. Panama next, and should, in capitals, win. Saka and Rashford look sharp and should start at the start of the next game. No team has still looked like an out-and-out winner yet. Dire performance, but no need to panic just yet. So there you go. We've also got a... we've also have another one here, a content creator here from YouTube of Around the Grounds, and he said, we have to be braver with the ball, but having said that, have to give every credit to Ghana, battled and defended as a unit. England will have to see teams will be... oh, sorry, hang on. I was going to say, if you are seeing it right, I'm not sure if this has been a spelling mistake here. England have to see teams will up their game, will up their game, I think should be, because that doesn't exactly make sense there, how it's worded here, because it's England. You can see what a point means to them at the end. You don't win a World Cup in a group stage. Positively, no doubt the doom and gloom clan will be out. You learn more from games like this than your wins, and Tuchel will have learnt a hell of a lot. Well, I think that's you can't disagree with that comment as well. And we've also had another one here, which I think is very interesting here. Who is I think he was an NCFC fan. I don't know which club that is, but he's from I think that's Norwich City, I think, actually. They're from the Suffolk countryside. There we go, my mistake. But he said here from yesterday, still think England will go well. It's a WC World Cup, and if we are still in with it to come in the last 10 days of the tournament, that's a good result. The arrogance of so many thinking we should be winning it. We have a chance, as do 3 or 4 others. We'll come to a single goal somewhere, I'm sure. So brilliant to hear. That was some very, of course, a very different opinion on these, how England have played also. And they haven't been the only side. We have seen some shock results, even just in the second, of course, week of the match days here on in the FIFA World Cup this year. And while, of course, as I can quickly get to once again to remind you that as of earlier on from today, it's also been confirmed that we've got more information on a recent shock injury update. And it says, Tom Shell, England hit with double World Cup injury blow as fitness concerns emerge over Arsenal and Chelsea stars. And following an unfortunate injury that through a hard-fought the hard-fought draw and for the Arsenal midfielder of Declan Rice, he had strapping on his leg after the game following an unfortunate he was ending up with pushing quite hard on his left calf of his left leg after the garden draw, and also we've had the Chelsea skipper, who at club level, Reece James, is understood to have felt something, which is the England medical team will closely monitor over the coming days. And the issue affecting Declan Rice is not to be believed serious, but there are concerns around overusing the 27-year-old after a grueling domestic season once again with Arsenal. He was subbed in the opening game due to a separate problem affecting his hamstring, but he had a quick recovery from that, providing treatment, and hopefully that he can have a specialist look into that potential injury that possibly might rule him out for the final game. But it's not to say it won't be the end of his time at the World Cup as of yet, but there has been loads of comments on this as well happening, and he did say that he would return for the tougher assignments that wait them in the knockout rounds. And it's said here, and we can confirm that Kobe Mainu and also Jordan Henderson are two options that Tuchel could consider, with both players still waiting to play their first minutes of the FIFA World Cup of 2026. And James would be also in contention to move into midfield, but his discomfort against Ghana makes that more unlikely. But if he is rested, Djed Spence is also the only other natural right back in the England World Cup squad, and he played on the left side last time out. So also Tivro Livramento, as you may remember, had to pull out because of training from a few weeks back, and also Trevor Chalobah, also a Chalobah of Chelsea, has also been called up to be a part of the team, even though he is yet to be subbed, of course, on and play or start in the FIFA World Cup. But Ezri Konsa and Gerald Kwanzaa are also centre-backs by trade, but could also cover for James against Panama if required. So there's some very interesting comments there from, of course, once again, the Sun newspaper. So that is quite a lot to, I think, to digest and swallow. So, and unfortunately, I don't think we don't want to dig our graves any deeper. It's not to say that we are not out of it, but there is still, of course, one game still to go for England to hopefully qualify for the knockout round of 32 of this summer's FIFA World Cup. As it stands at the moment, we can also quickly remind you, also in the Group L of this FIFA World Cup, as I quickly get it here on my phone. As it stands at the moment, if you are seeing it on your screen right now, currently England are still top of the group, level on points with Ghana, who managed to get a point, starting with 3 before the game got underway. But all importantly, they've had 4 goals for them and 2 against, and they are still leading 2-1 on goal difference at the moment over Ghana, while Croatia, as they are set to take on once again Ghana next time out from the same time, also on a Saturday as well, from also at 10 o'clock as well. But they'll also be once again playing, I think, also just to clarify that also here on the upcoming games, they are set to play at the Philadelphia Stadium in Philadelphia, home of the Philadelphia Eagles, while once again England travel to the Big Apple, and more specifically the MetLife Stadium in, once again, it does say East Rutherford here, but it's in the middle of both New Jersey, the district there, in New York City, the capital itself, New York, and they'll be kicking off from, of course, 10 o'clock in the evening from there as well. But there is still loads more games even happening as of tonight, as well as unbelievably from just as of today, we've had the first group stage matches in Group A and the third and final one of the World Cup as of oh goodness me, I felt like an insect just flew in my eye there. I don't know how on earth that happened, but anyway, oh, goodness me. I certainly was not expecting that to come out of nowhere. But anyway, as I was saying, we've, of course, we still have, of course, once again got, and there's another insect flying around. It's one of those, like, almost like little midges flying around. Anyway, I don't mean to get distracted there, but, as I said before, since, of course, the games are starting to, of course, get a lot more frequent over the next few days or so, we now can get to the official classified group stage match day 2 results, and alongside with then just the frustrating goalless draw there for Ghana and England. Here is a quick reminder of some of the other games that played from the end of last week, and as we go into the third and final match day, starting from earlier on as of today. Once again, here is the full classified match day results in the second match day of the group stage of this summer's FIFA World Cup. The FIFA World Cup 2026. Full classified group stage match day 2 results. Starting with matches played in Group A. Czechia 1, South Africa 1. And Mexico 1, South Korea 0. On to matches played in Group B. Switzerland 4, Bosnia and Herzegovina 1. And Canada 6, Qatar 0. Next on to matches played in Group C. Scotland 0, Morocco 1. And Brazil 3, Haiti 0. Next on to matches played in Group D. The United States of America 2, Australia 0. And Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Next on to matches played in Group E. Germany 2, Côte d'Ivoire 1. And Ecuador 0, Curaçao 0. On to matches played in Group F. Netherlands 5, Sweden 1. And Tunisia 0, Japan 4. On to matches played in Group G. Belgium 0, Islamic Republic of Iran 0. And New Zealand 1, Egypt 3. On to matches played in Group H. Spain 4, Saudi Arabia 0. And Uruguay 2, Cape Verde 2. On to matches played in Group I. France 3, Iraq 0. And Norway 3, Senegal 2. On to matches played in Group J. Argentina 2, Austria 0. And Jordan 1, Algeria 2. On to matches played in Group K. Portugal 5, Uzbekistan 0. And Colombia 1, Democratic Republic of Congo 0. And finally, matches played in Group L, England 0, Ghana 0. And finally, Panama 0, Croatia 1. Well, there you go, everybody. That, once again, was the full classified match day 2 results of the group stage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Once again, in, of course, the triple host of the Canada, the Mexico and the United States. And with that being said, we can confirm unbelievably that following a few of these dominant results, such as Mexico winning over South Korea, they've already won 2 of their group match stage matches already, so they unbelievably have secured qualification to knockout round of 32, as well as the likes also of the United States of America, who won recently over Australia. And also as well, we've just heard that possibly Canada are also still hoping to make it through to the next round, and we'll have more information on that, of course, in the next edition of World Cup the 26th, the America's Dream Overtime. But once again, Germany have also qualified from Group E, but they will face Ecuador in just a few days' time as well. And also a huge win for Netherlands over Sweden there, so a brilliant result for them. And Brazil have already secured qualification, also in Group C, winning 3-0 over Haiti. And an unfortunate loss there for Scotland, only 1-0 over, of course, Morocco. But they have got a huge game against Brazil, and hoping if they can get somehow an unlikely win or a draw, they might just do enough to hold on to 3rd place to qualify as the top 8 teams in most of the 12 groups there, which is a brand new rule also for this FIFA World Cup as well. And but we can also confirm, as well as that, Japan are also having hopefully trying to go for the runner-up spot after an impressive 4-0 win over Tunisia. Spain have already secured, I think, qualification also as well in Group H. As well as some impressive performances, also an impressive 2-2 draw over Uruguay for Cape Verde in Group H. And as well as that, also Argentina, the current world champions, have comfortably qualified, winning 2-0 over Austria in quite the controversial way, unbelievably, as we mentioned in the last episode, following some dirty play from also the captain Lionel Messi. But also France are looking in a good position also to qualify as well, and a huge performance also once again for Norway, winning narrowly 3-2 and securing a qualification to the knockout round of 32, and that is huge for, of course, the Scandinavian nation there, and hoping, of course, that Sweden would like to join them there, because they are currently in 3rd at the moment in, once again, to clarify, that being in Group F there. And as well as that, we can also just quickly clarify that Portugal are set to qualify also with that a huge 5-0 win over Uzbekistan. And but it's looking very interesting at the moment, also with Colombia also hoping to secure qualification also in Group K as well, to alongside Portugal as well. So a lot is happening in, of course, in just the second week, and as we go into the final week of the group stage matches of this summer's FIFA World Cup. And once again, we are now coming up to the end of this edition of World Cup 26, the America's Dream Overtime. I know it's been a little bit, of course, a little bit disappointing and a little bit downbeat than usual, but like I said before, it's not over. England still are in a very good position to stay at the top of, once again, Group L. Of course, Ghana are just a point, of course, they're level on points, but they still have a 2-goal difference, and if they can have a huge win over Panama, which unbelievably, the last time that they faced Panama, they had an absolute thrashing performance over the Panamanians, and they won 6-1 over them over 8 years ago at the FIFA World Cup in Russia. And I'm sure that with, of course, Thomas Tuchel's side, they are still remaining sanguine, I think is another good word. As I mentioned before, they're still remaining positive out of a difficult or unfortunate situation. And if you've never heard that word, I thought I'd educate you, all you viewers, of course, if you've never heard of it. It's actually a French word, unbelievably, if any of you are interested in it. But I still think that England could comfortably go through. I mean, it's once again, I know that this FIFA World Cup was going to be a challenge now and then for the England team, and it's already come with a little bit of an unexpected I wouldn't say bombshell, but it could have been a lot worse. That's all I could say on that. It's a good job they didn't lose that game. They'll happily take the draw and the clean sheet there, even though that they missed out on a clean sheet last time out against Croatia. But it's still all to play for as we go into the final week of the group stage matches in this summer's FIFA World Cup. Well, with that being said, thanks very much for watching this edition of World Cup 26, the America's Dream Overtime. If you have somehow enjoyed this edition of course, the spin-off series from my original playthrough, World Cup vlog series of being of World Cup 26, the America's Dream. Don't forget to give it a like, comment down below on your thoughts of the game as well, and don't forget also, if you still would like to have any involvement in this series, if you want to have your opinions or memories of your time being at the FIFA World Cup, or also your opinion on certain players, and also to help out in a match score prediction, we would love to hear from you. And we're hoping as of later on this week, from this weekend on Saturday the 27th of June, we're hoping to head to the local pub this time, the Crown, based here where I am here in Littleport and East Cambridgeshire in England, United Kingdom, and might be reuniting with an old school friend of mine who may have appeared previously when we reacted to that unbelievable penalty shootout win over Switzerland 2 years ago at the European Football Championships from London to Berlin. Fabian Missen, I'm sure that he would like to have some very interesting words to say, not just about England being, of course, shit, as he would normally say. Apologies for the bad word there, but he is very honest and quite brutal, but I'm sure he had a difference of opinion on how England played from, of course, just a week ago over Croatia. But it's going to be very interesting to hear what he thinks on the game, as well as my dad John. He'll also be joining me. I know that following some comments that were said, I kind of misinterpreted what he said, along with my mum Samantha, and I think something about this real warm, of course, air and this very hot and sticky heat wave, it's just drove me mad. Like, you know, I'm losing not exactly the will to live, but literally just to sit here with a damp towel around my neck and just to try to keep cool. I've literally had to go that extreme just to try and keep myself cool here. And with that also being said, before we go, also I'd just like to quickly remind you, if you are here, of course, specifically in the centre part of England, more specifically also down in the southeast and southwest, and also the east part where I'm also based. Also, currently to remind you that from the Met Office there are still severe weather warnings, when of course red, of course, weather warnings. Once again for extreme heat, and once again this is the highest tier warning that of course the Met Office can also forecast for any forms of inclement weather, and it's crazy to think that we've been having this quite strong and hot and sticky weather sunny-wise for the last few days, but it is set to get cool over the next few days going into the end of this week. So and there could be the possibility of also because of the high humidity levels, there could be a possible weather warning for also thunderstorms coming up from later on in the of course the week as well. There's currently a yellow warning in force possibly for thunderstorms from later on this week also as well. So of course that is a quick weather alert update for all of you here in the UK. Make sure once again to of course keep yourself hydrated, and of course take cold showers and stay out of the sun, stay in of course the shade where the sun is its most strongest, and of course make sure you put sun cream on if you're staying and of course if you are ever bravely considering sunbathing in this warm weather. I know that the UV level is quite high, and also possibly also for all of you pollen of course hay fever sufferers out there, I think the pollen count will also be quite high due to the warm temperatures as well, with the current pollen in season being grass pollen, which is more likely for all of you hay fever sufferers out there to try and overcome. So my sympathy goes all out to all of you there. From of course here at the studios of JackpotButtonLewis Sport Productions. Well, anyway, I feel like I'm starting to nod off as well as being cold. I mean, you know, I haven't had that much sleep over the last few days, but somehow I've managed to make the effort just to be here for, of course, another edition of World Cup 26, the America's Dream Overtime. But we'll see you very, very soon, of course. Like I said, we will be back in just a few days' time, covering from this weekend on Saturday, and live once again from the MetLife Stadium in, of course, New York City, and more specifically in the District of New Jersey, for the decisive and third and final England World Cup well, not that friendly match, but also group stage match in Group L as they take on Panama. From me, Jack Wright, thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much also for staying up also despite the late time this being up to you. I will get around hopefully very, very soon to uploading the episodes of this series as soon as possible when it's a bit more cooler, and of course we'll be seeing you once again in a few days time for the third and final group stage match of this FIFA World Cup campaign as England continue to hopefully get ever so closer to their very own, that being American dream. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you very, very soon. Bye bye.